Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another party prep. My daughter just recently turned 2 and we had an at-home Minnie Mouse birthday party for her. This is going to be 2 parts because it is a lot of footage and I didn't want the video to be crazy long. So today we're going to be doing the baking, the balloon garland, and decorating the cake. And then in the next one, we will be decorating the cupcakes and then doing all of the decorations in the house. So make sure that you stick around for part 2 if that sounds interesting for you. But this is 2 days before the party. I'm filming this on Thursday morning. The party was on Saturday, and I am making the cake. First of all, I am doing a white cake mix. And I'm separating the egg yolk because it's a white mix, and I used to be really good at that, and as you can see, I'm not so good at it anymore. But I did 2 box mixes, and this came out for 3 9-inch cakes. So now it's a little bit later in the afternoon. I got my oldest from preschool and I am making the cupcakes. I'm using 1 box mix for this and it made 21. This is chocolate. I tried to do a chocolate and a vanilla option. I'm not a chocolate person, so if it was up to me, this would be like carrot cake or something. But whenever my oldest turned 2 at his party, because I don't like chocolate, I did a funfetti cake and then lemon cupcakes, and my husband, who loves chocolate, was just like, are you not gonna have a chocolate option? So I was like, oh yeah, I forget that's something that like most people like. So for the cake and the cupcakes, I let them cool in the pan for 10 minutes and then I transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool completely. For the cakes, I wrap them in saran wrap and put them in the fridge. And then for the cupcakes, I got this very handy cupcake holder from Amazon. If you've watched my previous party preps, you've probably seen me cram all of the cupcakes into like a bunch of Tupperware containers. And so finally I was like, okay, I think it is time to invest in a good cupcake holder, and I am so glad that I did. Okay, it's later in the evening now, my kids are in bed, and I am going to start on the balloon garland. This is normally something I do the night before the party, but with being 24 weeks pregnant, I just cannot stay up half the night right now. Usually I do this and the cake the night before, and I am up like until the middle of the night. I still didn't go to bed until like midnight the following night, but still a lot better, and it was really nice to have this done 2 days before and just focus on the cake. So right now I'm separating out all of the different colors of balloons. Usually I just mix them together, but this time I decided to do color block. I do think I prefer mixing them, but it's also nice just to switch it up a little bit. I also have a balloon pump, which makes this a lot easier. The first time I did a balloon arch was for my oldest's 2nd birthday, and I was like, oh, I don't need to spend $20 on that. Like, I'll just save money wherever I can for his party. And no, I nearly died. I blew up every single balloon. with my lungs, and I got super sick after. My chest hurt for like a week. It was crazy. So I was like, I am never doing that again. I'm getting a balloon arch. This is like the best $20 I have ever spent. If you've never made a balloon arch before, it just comes with like a tape. It's not like actually tape that's sticky, but there's like holes that you just pull the end of the balloon through, and then you do opposite sides. It's super easy. If I can do it, you can do it. It is tedious. My fingers do get tired after a while of doing these balloons. I did have to have my husband come help me. Usually, like whenever we're getting ready for parties, he's, you know, just making sure like the house is ready to go and like the toys are all picked up and everything's clean. And then I'm like working on the actual party stuff. But occasionally I do need to like rope him in to help me with this, because sometimes I can't just do it all on my own. So the next party prep on my channel will be in July. My oldest will be turning 4 then. Obviously that's 6 months away. So who knows what he's gonna want at that point. But he is very into Spider-Man, so I am assuming that's what it's gonna be. Spider-Man has been the obsession for almost a year now. He also really likes Bluey, so unless something else comes along, it will probably be one of those two things. But let me know in the comments what kind of theme your child is having for their birthday. I think it's always so fun to hear what other people are doing and what time of year you have your parties. I kind of feel bad for my daughter having a January party. We are 2 for 2 so far on having to reschedule it, either due to bad weather or sickness. This year, my in-laws in Iowa, who are like 3 hours from us, got 14 inches of snow. So we rescheduled it for that, and then we also had to reschedule it last year for something else going on. So yeah, I hope that doesn't become like the normal tradition, but we will see. I do feel kind of bad for her because her brother has a July birthday, and then her other brother is due in May, so it probably won't be a problem for him either. And we did have like 7 people from our party cancel last minute because they were sick, which obviously I would much rather like people not come over here if they're sick, but you know, it's just the reality of having a winter birthday. And I have a summer birthday, my husband has a summer birthday, so it's like she's the only one in our family like that, so I do kind of feel for her.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire.
Okay, so now the balloon arch is finally assembled, so it is going to get hung up on the wall. I'm sure there's several ways to do this, My husband came up with this method last year for her birthday, so this is now our third time doing a balloon arch this way, and it works really well. So you can kind of see above his head right there, we have a command hook, and there are 3 total. I didn't angle the camera high enough to see the other 2. I didn't realize. But what my husband does is he just ties a string onto the balloon tape and then ties that onto the command hook. And then we just leave the command hooks up year round, since we do have 2 birthday parties a year. We're about to have 3. So yeah, we just leave them, and this way we don't have to like tack it or put holes on our wall or anything like that. And I'm not the one doing it, obviously. He does it every time, but it does seem to be pretty easy for him.
You added colors, like the moon is the snow. We don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I just want you, I just need you. I don't know what it is you do. I just want you, I just need you. I don't know what it is you do. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old.
Okay, so it is now Friday afternoon, the day before the party, and I am going to get started on leveling my cakes and doing the crumb coat. I always make my kids' birthday cakes. I did that before I even started YouTube. Sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. I've done that since my oldest turned 1, so I've made every single cake. My mom did that for us growing up, and so that's just like kind of why I wanted to do it for my kids. And I never know what I'm doing. I'm never happy with it. I always think that I messed it up. But my kids always think it's the greatest thing ever, and that's obviously the most important thing because that's who I am making it for. I also learned something new every time I make a cake, and this time I learned that I need to buy a leveler. I have never used one before. I just never felt like I needed to. But this time you'll see, like, once I get all 3 pieces stacked, the cake was like, looked like it was leaning because I didn't level it properly. So I did kind of fix that. I put it in the fridge for a while to set, and then once the icing was hardened, I just added a bunch more icing to the side that was like sloping down, and it definitely helped. Like by the time the cake was finished, you couldn't really tell. So yeah, but I'd rather not have to do that next time. I also, on the 3rd layer, part of the cake like fell off, you can kind of see, so I was trying to use icing to like glue it back on. You can obviously see right here what I mean with it leaning, but yeah, that part right there fell off, so I tried to use icing to put it back together. And when that happens, when I'm making a cake, if part of it falls like that, I just can never get it to like look right. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the cake is ruined from the get-go. So yeah, that kind of stinks, but I did cover the cake in fondant, so it wasn't like super noticeable in the end. Okay, so now it's much later in the day. The cake has been chilling for a few hours in the fridge at this point, and I'm going to start the decorating process. I'm rolling out some black fondant to make my mini ears. I got this fondant at Michael's. I thought it was pretty easy to work with. I've never really used fondant before, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but the ears were very easy. I just used a drinking glass. I did wish that they were like a little bit bigger. I probably could have I don't have circle cutters, but I probably could have found like one of my kids' little like toddler bowls or something and use that to make the ears bigger, but whatever. I'm just cutting the bottoms off of them and then sticking toothpicks, and then I will get to work on the bow.
If you fall, I pick you up. Never too much. Carry these memories till we're older. So let's try to rewind and turn back all this time. So let's try to rewind now. This
Okay, so I'm using white fondant for the bow, and I redid this a couple of times. This was so hard. I did like have to look up a tutorial on how to do this. I definitely did not like come up with this on my own, and I didn't think it looked good. I sent a picture of it to my mom whenever I finished, and I said that I was going to throw it away because it looked like a first grader did it, and she told me it was really cute and told me I should keep it. So she convinced me. I did go ahead and keep it. I wasn't happy with it, but you know, A for effort, and like I said, I'm making it for my 2-year-old, so obviously she doesn't care if it's perfect or not. But I can't really explain to you what I'm doing right here because I don't even really know what I'm doing right here.
You know that I'll be waiting when you come back, come back. Yeah, I'll be waiting when you come back.
Okay, my bow and my ears are drying, so now I'm going to start rolling out my pink fondant. This was my first attempt ever at covering a cake in fondant, and for being my first time, I feel like I did a pretty good job. It did crack a little bit. I watched a lot of videos on how to do this, and it seemed like the biggest issue people had was the fondant cracking whenever you laid it over. So at first I was like incredibly careful with it, and then after a while the fondant just seemed a lot more durable than I had expected, and so I think I just got a little bit too confident and just like became less careful because I was like getting tired of doing this, and then that's whenever it cracked. So if I hadn't done that, if I had really like been careful the entire time, I do think that I probably could have made it without cracking. Also, maybe someone can tell me if I should put fondant over a cake whenever the cake, like the icing is chilled and set, or whenever it's like freshly on the cake. So I did it whenever it was chilled, and it like had a hard time sticking to the cake, so I think maybe I'm supposed to do it when the frosting is tacky. I was just kind of worried it might like slip and slide that way. But anyway, now I'm adding the white polka dots. I just rolled out the white fondant and used the big end of a piping tip to cut out the circles, and that worked really well. I didn't show that because the video is already really long and there's so many times, only so many times you need to watch me roll out fondant. But if anyone watching is like actually a cake decorator, you know what you're doing, and you have any kind of like, if I'm doing something wrong, well, I know I'm doing a lot of things wrong, but whatever it is that you see that I'm doing wrong, please let me know in the comments. I am totally fine with constructive criticism. You will not offend me, and I would really like to get better with cake decorating because I do enjoy it. I just want to like actually make a cake that I am super proud of. But I am using water to attach the polka dots, and then just like a little unused paintbrush that I found in the kids' craft stuff. Okay, so I decided to add some polka dots to the bow. At first I thought I was gonna do black. I ended up going with pink, but I was trying to figure out what do I have that I could make really tiny polka dots with, and I ended up using a reusable straw. And then once I decided to do the pink polka dots, I decided to not even use that and just roll up little balls because they weren't, like the black wasn't really coming out super flat like a polka dot anyway. It was just coming out like little balls. So I was like, I don't need to waste my time doing that. Obviously, if you want it to look perfect and have every single one the exact same size, you probably would want to use something like that, but I didn't really care that much. Also, I think I probably should use like piping gel or something like that instead of water for this, because I know they make like edible glue for working with fondant, and the water like worked just fine with making it stick, but it did cause the pink to run a little bit, which did make the bow just like look a little bit sloppy. But you guys are gonna have to let me know in the comments what you think of the cake. Okay, so now I'm attempting to make a border for the cake. I kind of wish I hadn't done this because I think the border ended up looking even worse than just the cake how it is, but it took me a while to like figure out how to make one long enough because this is a pretty large cake. And then I tried to do balls at one point, but the fondant was kind of drying out, so that was difficult. So yeah, this was like trial and error, although I think I should have just left it. And you'll notice that the cake is a little bit shinier than it was, and because there was like a lot of powdered sugar on the cake, I ended up using some vegetable oil to make it look like nice and glossy and clean again. Finally, the cake is done, thank God, and I am gonna call it quits on this video, but I will see you again in part 2 for everything else. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe before you go, and I will see you in a couple of days.